When I first heard that a single-player Star Wars game was being published by EA, I was like, yeah, that's a good one, boys. I almost fell for that. What's next, a new Conquer game? Oh, it's real. Bah, they'll just cancel it. This game will suffer the same fate as Star Wars 1313. EA will probably shut down Respawn Entertainment, execute Order 66, murder all their staff and families, and trudge right along like nothing ever happened. So I tuned into the E3 demo of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and hot damn, did it look bad. Like it would be another dumbed-down adventure game made for ultra-casual mainstream audiences. Kinda like Battlefront 2's campaign was. A game so numbingly simple it almost plays itself, with a plot as boring and uneventful as possible. At the time, I didn't know if they just did an awful job showcasing Fallen Order, or if this is what it would really be like. That, my friends, is the effect that EA's logo and reputation has on any gaming product. Trust no one, and expect the worst. Most times when I have a bad feeling about a game, I'm usually right on the money. But was I correct in this case? It certainly doesn't help that under Disney's watch, Star Wars as a whole has been losing my interest. I had no desire to see Rise of Skywalker and still haven't. And when was the last single-player Star Wars game? Force Unleashed 2? God damn, it's been a while. 2 Battlefront games and that's it. But before we jump into Fallen Order, this video is sponsored by NordVPN. Are you tired of pesky droids and members of 4chan hacking into your accounts? Worried that the Emperor and your service provider have access to your search history? Want to mask your presence from the Empire? Then go to nordvpn.com/theactman and install NordVPN now. In a nutshell, a virtual private network ensures a secure connection to any network over the internet. Honestly, if you ever take your laptop or even your phone to a Starbucks and use any sort of public Wi-Fi, you never know who else might be there and willing to steal your credit card information to buy Fortnite skins or worse, loot boxes. It's just safe and smart to take an easy step to protect yourself, your information, and data. With Nord, you can bypass geographic restrictions, hide your location, and way more. YouTubers can often be prime targets of hackers, so it gives me a sense of security to have NordVPN. Use the Force, Luke, and get a special offer that breaks down to just $3.49 a month if you click the link in the description, nordvpn.com/theactman, or use the code, you guessed it, TheActman. $3.49 is hella cheap. But what exactly does Fallen Order bring to the table? Is it a revolutionary game for the Star Wars franchise? Does it revitalize the genre of Star Wars games? Is the story any good? And what about the new cast of characters? Well, let's forge our own lightsaber, find the Jedi holocron, and murder giant spiders straight into this. Development for Fallen Order began way back in 2014, with Stig Asmussen as the director, Aaron Contreras as narrative lead, with a team that included Chris Avallone, who had written games like KOTOR 2 and Divinity 2 Original Sin. And they still got Vince Zampella and Jason West. The team was filled with talent and experience, to the point that only a publisher like EA could squander this game's potential. The team had a simple goal: make a Star Wars game that respects the franchise's legacy while maintaining the same level of quality seen in Respawn's past products. And so, that is what they brought us. After the initial reveal of Cal Kestis as the new protagonist in this epic adventure, people were excited to complain about how awful and boring white male protagonists are. Remember, people, Star Wars doesn't feature any strong female leads or people of color in important roles. Nope, not a single one. Just a bunch of white dudes. You'd think people clamoring for diversity would be excited to see the first lead ginger in a Star Wars story, but no.
Gingers have souls!
Anyways, Jedi Fallen Order takes place 5 years after Revenge of the Sheev and the Purge of the Jedi, and 14 years before A New Meme, with occasional flashbacks before. The story opens up with a beautiful unveiling of the ship-breaking planet Bracca, in a scene that mimics the opening of A New Hope. And right off the bat, we see it. The backdrops. The graphics. Beauty in the virtual world. And man oh man, does Fallen Order pack in some incredible views. Respawn was so confident in their ability to dazzle our eyeballs that they pull the screen over to the set piece they want you to see. Can anybody truthfully say this game isn't drop-dead gorgeous? Seeing these massive vessels in the background gives the world a sense of scale. Witnessing the fog surrounding a group of abandoned Clone Wars ATTEs is so spooky and mysterious, and a ship-breaking planet is just a phenomenal idea for a setting. Unfortunately, we don't spend too much time here and don't come back. It's more or less a tutorial section. We zoom in and meet Cal, who is jamming out to some sick beats.
Listen, I don't want to upset your rhythm, Cal, but the boss wants a word.
Him and his friend Prof get orders to do some work.
That's not an easy maneuver.
Yo, he's right. Who is the mad architect of this place? It's like, hey yo, we need the buzzsaw up top. Hold on, let me just walk across death-defying chasms, climb 18 stories, and just backflip my way up there. Once we reach the payload.
It's a Jedi fighter. What a score! It's a real scrapper's payday. I mean, this he's been here, what, 4 years?
5.
Whoever flew this went down in a blaze of glory. Those Jedi. Real tragedy. You know, I've always said they couldn't all be traitors.
Yeah, maybe.
Cal sees it's an old Republic starfighter, and he wipes away the grime, just as he will soon wipe away the dust that has covered the Jedi Order. Prof gives some words of wisdom to Cal, words we've heard before.
What makes you think I want out of here?
Come on, Cal, you're a young guy. You don't end up like me. Eventually, you gotta move on and live your life. Find your destiny.
But then suddenly,
What was that?
it hits the fan. Prof and Cal slide down the side of a star cruiser. It looks like Prof is done for, but then, a miracle. Homeboy recognizes Cal can use the Force, and it's only a matter of time until the Sith realize a Jedi is in their midst. Being on an Imperial-controlled planet is the last place Cal wants to be. They catch a train, and Cal has a flashback to his master, Jaro Tapal,
Trust only in the Force.
symbolizing his reawakening as a Jedi. Like clockwork, stormtroopers board the train and capture everyone. The 2nd and 9th sisters make their appearance, Imperial Inquisitors, who specialize in tracking Jedi. And then right when you think someone's gonna sell Cal out, we pour one for a homie.
You own.
No!
Cal escapes and is saved by an odd trio consisting of former Jedi Master Seer Junda, scrapper pilot Grease Dritus, and the trademark sidekick droid BD-1. The opening section sets the stage perfectly, giving us a taste of everything that is to come. Platforming, combat mechanics, boss fights, story. It introduces the bad and good guys all in about 30 minutes. The plot of Fallen Order revolves around the four following the footsteps of Eno Cordova, an old Jedi Master, to unlock the temple and retrieve the holocron, which contains a list of Force-sensitive children that they can use to rebuild the Jedi Order. A promising start to an epic game. We'll go in depth on the story later, so let's talk core gameplay.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
From the simple 2D side-scrollers of old, to the flowing movement of Jedi Academy, all the way through the hard-hitting style of Force Unleashed, we have seen countless iterations of lightsaber combat. Episode 3 duels, those were dank as hell. So how does Fallen Order handle lightsaber fighting? With so many shining examples to look at, does it differentiate itself? Not really. But Fallen Order is more like an amalgamation of previous games, and there are so many different strategies and techniques. Dodging, rolling, blocking, parrying, double-bladed lightsaber, single blade, dual, and not to mention all the Force powers. Unlike the stiff, embarrassing jankiness of Battlefront 2 EA, the combat here is fluid and perfected to a T. Cal is flowy and graceful, he is artsy and martial. Cal had a traditional Jedi upbringing that was torn away from him suddenly, and as he transitioned into adulthood, his style of combat evolved, a style that symbolizes the character. Cameron Monaghan talks about this in his interview.
I tried to do a significant amount that I could. I wanted to do it myself because I felt that the emotion and stuff would carry into the performance, and that the physical performance also would affect, the expression.
It sounds like it was his decision to do a lot of the stunt work, and I really gotta applaud him for this. It takes a lot more than gigantic balls to do something like that and put yourself in harm's way. Trust me, I know. They even used motion capture to film the fight choreography, and that's why the swings and everything just look so damn sexy. Using a lightsaber feels impactful, with all sorts of badass execution moves on top of it.
Set him up and knock him down.
These stormtroopers just get destroyed. Damn right I am. And as much as I hate the "it's just like Dark Souls" meme, Jedi Fallen Order is
just like Dark Souls!
not nearly as difficult, but with similar principles. Epic boss fights with huge health bars? Check. Hard enemy in the starting area? Check. Meditation circles that reset enemies? Check it out. Hit, dodge, roll, combat? Checkmate. Estus flask? Check. Doors locked from the other side? Check. Chest opening? Chickadee check. Riding a giant bird? Checkaroo. Shortcuts to previous areas? Chickadee check yourself. There's also some Sekiro influence with the mobility, skill tree system, and leveling. Not to mention the guard breaking mechanic. Creepy character laugh. Controls are perfect. The parkour, wall running, and double jump aren't just gimmicks, but essential skills you need to traverse the levels. Using the mechanic successfully is very satisfying. Running up a wall, double jumping to hit a ledge, or using force pull to snag a rope. So much of the game is based on problem solving and doing all sorts of puzzles, which force you to think. Something about the UI bugs me though. I never know how many force abilities I can use, so I end up constantly looking down. I played on Jedi Master and the difficulty was pretty well balanced from start to finish. Except for this fucking Ogdo Bogdo. Fuck. Shit. Piece of shit frog. This is definitely a sandbox game where you can approach a battle in any number of ways. You can even cheese certain boss fights with the right force powers. And the game gives you that good old power trip we expect of playing as a Jedi. Yeah, that's what I thought. You want to go ham with the dual-bladed lightsaber? Go for it. You want to time your blocks and pick them all down with their own blaster shots? You bet. Want to pick some poor fool up and toss him away like a rag doll? Hell yeah. Want to be a pacifist and go through the game without killing people? Nah, you can't do that. But you can force push everyone to get the fuck off of you. There's an incredible sense of progression. Unlocking the double-bladed lightsaber felt so awesome. You could swap to them at will, and each force power opens up new areas and possibilities. From start to finish, Fallen Order is constantly giving you new tools to mess around with, keeping gameplay fresh. It may not be revolutionary, it might even be derivative, but lightsaber combat and Star Wars gameplay has never felt so good in a video game. It's not enough to just have exceptional gameplay, you also need a well-rounded group of baddies to beat up. And Fallen Order delivers.
A Jedi. This is what I've trained for.
There's a ton of different Imperial forces, and each time you fight a new enemy, BD1 can scan them for information, strategies, etc. Enemy variety is exceptional. You got the cannon fodder stormtroopers, guys with rocket launchers, purge troopers with staves, batons, electric hammers, flame troopers, heavy troopers. You got these Darth Maul looking ass dudes, bounty hunters that fly around like Jango and Boba Fett, and you even go toe to toe with a few ATSTs. Now that's what I call an epic gamer moment. The security droid starts out as a boss fight, but later on, you encounter them in huge numbers. Like a great single-player game, Fallen Order methodically places different combinations of enemies to make each encounter memorable and different. It's also awesome to see the Empire fighting other soldiers and wildlife. There's something beautiful about a game with great AI that pits them against each other. I love watching that. You can even hack droids and convert them to your side. Yeah, get wrecked, Empire. You fight massive spiders, rats, flame beetles, gigantic frog monsters, these buffalo-like creatures, the aggressive Nidax, large imposing Jotaz. There's a ton of wildlife you encounter, as well as optional boss fights to kill and murder. But for some reason there's also animals you can't murder on Bogano. What's the point of that? I gotta say, another fine detail is the combat dialogue. Hilarious, sometimes unintentionally.
Yeah, someone else take a hit.
When battling stormtroopers and other characters, they know what they're up against.
How's he blocking everything?
And they will talk some mad shit.
Challenge me, Jedi.
Strategize with each other. They'll respond based on your actions.
We got no more range cover power.
Their banter makes them feel like real soldiers, so you kind of feel bad for putting them down.
Oh, I just know I'm next.
It really adds some excitement to the game. Additionally, by exploring the levels, you can listen in on stormtrooper conversations and banter.
I just heard from the captain. They're coming. Oh, this is it. At least we have the high ground.
Each enemy and scenario will test your resolve, skills, and utilization of your surroundings. The boss fights are exceptional as well, going up against the Ninth Sister, Second Sister, and Terran Malicos, made for some intense lightsaber duels. Now, Jedi Fallen Order has some very tight animations that make the movement and gameplay look very cinematic. I think because of this, it opens the door for all sorts of hilarious visual bugs. There is a lot of pop-in during cutscenes, and while pretty glitchy at times, the game never became unplayable for me, which is atypical of AAA releases nowadays. I thought Fallen Order was going to be super linear when I saw the E3 demo, but it has taken inspiration from Metroidvania-style games, with a huge emphasis on exploration, expansive branching paths, secret hidden areas, backtracking. Each planet has its own main road through the story and whatnot, but you can also screw around and explore at your leisure. And the game gives you plenty of reasons to do so. Going off the beaten path can often lead to these force echoes. Cal can sense a location or item's history and learn more about the environment. A pretty cool, unique concept, as it gives some short exposition on the worlds. This adds life, depth, and side stories to uncover, as well as a nice XP bonus. This ability can be memed to great extent. There was a 5-man gangbang here. One of them wasn't a fan. Someone or something took a fat dump right here. I think I just put my hand in it. Additionally, some force echoes will increase your maximum force power and health. These will often be placed where you can see them but out of reach just to tease you. That will drive a player wild. Must uncover the secrets. I gotta say, instead of just outright killing you whenever you fall off a ledge, Fallen Order will just kinda take a little bit of your health. Which, thank God for that, because I fell off a cliff like 300 times. As is typical of Metroidvania games, there's a lot of optional backtracking for upgrades, with each new ability you unlock giving you access to more of the world and more hidden areas. Double jump, force push, pull, BD slicer, and the grapple line. There are also 3 types of chests you can find, the most valuable of which are the stim packs.
Have I mentioned to you how awesome this is? Because you're pretty great.
The one flaw of the difficulty is if you do not find most or all of the stim packs, you are going to have your work cut out for you, and will be able to make far fewer mistakes. Another chest type is one that you have to slice with BD1, while others you can just open outright. The chests will give you skins for BD1, the mantis, your outfit, and of course, the poncho. It is all about the poncho game, ladies. In addition to all the different parts of your lightsaber, while discovering the chest gives you a sudden rush of excitement, you will quickly find the end result isn't that satisfying.
What's that, BD?
Oh boy!
Another skin I won't use.
Another one.
There you go.
Another
Want
one.
to look inside?
Another
You
one.
know, don't you?
And another one.
If this game had a multiplayer component, the cosmetics would probably mean more, but I don't really understand why they were such a huge focus. Speaking of the different skins, they are pretty cool in design, and it's nice to craft your own lightsaber, mixing and matching parts. Although when you think about how small it is visually, it doesn't make a huge difference. Maybe there could have been some bonus stats to completing a set, or a new ability, talent, anything to spice up the gameplay and give me a reason to go out and search for them. BD1 can also scan parts of the world, giving you more information and XP. There's history around every corner of every planet, and you can tie these pieces together to form a complete side story. The game has a bestiary, codex, character bios. You can read up on everything in this game that you see. There's also these plants you can collect, but they don't do anything, so I'm not sure what the point is. Exploring the levels and having to run back to the Mantis might feel tedious at times, sure. Yet despite the many paths in each level, it is never so obnoxious that you get lost and can't find your way back. That frustrating element that often invades Metroidvania games is not present here. Whether you explore a dark cave illuminated only by your lightsaber, or you discover a dangerous boss inside a destroyed ship, the game rewards you for going out of your way. A great adventure game should strive to make the player feel adventurous, headstrong, and capable with an element of danger. And with its environments, Jedi Fallen Order defines what an action-adventure game should be. Feels like this game was designed to be sexy, like God when he chiseled me out of speckled gold marble. I appreciate how the developers gave us some new areas like Bracca, Dathomir, and Zepho, while also having some familiarity in Kashyyyk. At times you can look way off in the distance and see one of those meditation circles.
That's just like Dark Souls.
The jungles of Kashyyyk are lush and filled with dangerous wildlife, foreign plants. Dathomir is hostile and filled with aggressive enemies. Zepho is ancient and mysterious. Although a minor complaint I have is there are parts of the levels that feel like a video game, and you say, duh, Actman, it's a video game. But these areas are like so obviously manufactured, to the point where it doesn't feel like a realistic structure or environment in the universe. You get what I mean? Like, there's an absurd amount of long-ass tunnel slides. What natural formation caused this to occur? It's only slightly immersion breaking. As far as story goes, Fallen Order feels way more authentic than Battlefront 2, which was predictable, boring, and safe. Instead of a happy-go-lucky adventure, this game is way more dark. Following Order 66, the Empire's takeover, and Palpatine's rise to power, the Jedi Order is at its weakest point. Yet, all the remnants of the Republic remain. The aftermath of Order 66 is present all over the place, from a clone helmet memorial to the dialogue. We are constantly reminded of the Clone Wars, which is nice fan service to anyone who enjoys that era.
We used to scrap walkers on Bracca. I'll just jack one.
Get a load of the kid. He thinks we're back in the Clone Wars.
The story follows similar beats to other Star Wars media. You come face to face with Dark Jedi, there's a redemption arc. In your search for a way to unlock the Jedi holocron, you come across bounty hunters, inquisitors, and have all sorts of wacky adventures along the way. Working with the Wookiees to liberate Kashyyyk, stealing an AT-AT to cripple the Empire's forces, diving into ancient temples to unlock their secrets. So much variety. One of the coolest parts of the story is learning a new force power or ability triggers a flashback to Cal's training. And as you master the technique in the past, you remember how to do it in the present.
What stands in the way becomes the way. I did it.
It builds a lot of character development, history, and depth. Cal is a pretty tight, great protagonist, likable and relatable.
You would be wise to surrender.
Yeah. Probably.
He's got confidence in himself, but his troubled past keeps him humble, and he tries to reconcile with it. Cal believes he was responsible for his master's death, and coming to terms with that is the hardest part of his journey.
Yes. My blood is on your hands, apprentice. You are a failure, a weakling, a traitor. You are no Jedi! No!
There's a lot of sad moments in this game. When he breaks his lightsaber and loses all hope, But that moment when he finally comes to terms with his past is when his visions stop tormenting him. It makes for great drama.
Master, I will never forget. The loss has become a part of me. I will honor your teaching and your sacrifice.
Shit, Negro, that's all you had to say.
And these flashback scenes show us his darkest fears and his greatest dreams. Cal sees himself as a dark Jedi or training younglings. These sections are awesome, and Cere is always there to comfort him. The two have a great connection, bonding over the scars left over from Order 66. Cere gave into the darkness to save her Padawan Trilla, but in doing so, left her to fall to the dark side, and she became an Inquisitor. Each character has some great backstory, and the whole crew has great chemistry together. BD1 is especially cute, him and Cal's interactions are a lot of fun, and Grease offers a lot of comic relief. The actors did a fantastic job with the material, and the writers did a fantastic job writing it. There are occasional dialogue choices, but I'm not sure if it makes much difference. You can always board the Mantis and talk with the crew until they tell you to fuck off. So there's a lot more to the characters and story if you desire it. Most Star Wars stories tend to portray the Jedi as benevolent heroes, but morality is never so black and white. This is something KOTOR 1 and 2 touched on a lot, the darker history of the Jedi. The whole concept of restoring the Jedi Order is presented in such fascinating ways. Yeah, the Jedi fucked up. Probably shouldn't have been huge pricks to Anakin. And Terran Malicos says,
Jedi fell long before the Purge. We were stifled by tradition, deafened by our past glories, blinded by endless war.
Maybe.
And we know he's not totally wrong, but that Cal is still right to believe the Jedi can be restored. Malicos is a great character. He represents the fallen Jedi, not quite a Sith, but he's lost all faith and hope in the Jedi. Cere's former apprentice Trilla has fully turned over and seeks vengeance upon her master. Everyone shares their wounds from the fall of the Jedi, and Cal's efforts to restore it will restore all their spirits as well. So once you return to Bogano and retrieve the holocron,
Surprise, motherfucker!
it's stolen right out of your hands. The finale has you invade an Imperial fortress and go face to face with Trilla to fight for the holocron and the future of the Jedi Order. And Cal decides it's best to leave the fates of the Force-sensitive kids to the will of the Force, and he crushes the holocron, knowing the Empire has no way of tracking them down now. All in all, Jedi Fallen Order proves that Respawn's powers have doubled since their last game. The combat is tuned to perfection with incredible depth and a fair but challenging difficulty. Enemy variety makes gameplay constantly engaging, always giving you new foes to face down and different scenarios to do so. While the levels are beautiful and expansive, begging you to explore them, the fruits of that exploration just aren't that satisfying. Although a thorough player will have a great time tracking down these chests and collectibles. Quite honestly, there's not much to criticize. Besides the bugs and glitches, Fallen Order is well worth the money and time for any Star Wars fan. And thank God this game turned out to be as good as it is, because it proves to EA and everyone else that single-player only games have a place in the AAA gaming industry. Cal Kestis, Grease, Cere, BD1, Trilla, Saw Gerrera, and all the other characters make for a well-rounded cast, and all bring something different to the table. The story is excellent, with a lot of surprises and exciting moments. The gameplay is the real draw here. Lightsaber combat has never felt this good before. All these pieces form together to create a beautiful, complete puzzle that oozes style, grit, and pure Star Wars awesomeness. Respawn Entertainment defied the horrible reputation of Electronic Arts and came out with a kick-ass single-player adventure game, the likes of which I hope we see again. They have earned the rank of Master. And that is why Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is so awesome.